Hi, let's overview web services fundamentals. Testing web services is not much different from testing any other functional project. First, you need to plan and design web services. Then, execute designed web services using testing. After which testing verifies developed web services or applies quality assurance. And finally, you need to deliver to end user customer validated or and accepted web services. What are web services? Web service is a request response data exchange offering from one to another computer devices, communicating with each other via the internet as an open protocols and standard collection of web protocols like HTTP, XML, SOAP, and REST. In other words, a web service is a software code that includes any software, application, cloud technology that is available over the internet using acknowledged standard XML messaging system. Web services are associated with service-oriented architecture with the major key features that applications written in different languages are able to communicate and exchange data via a web service between clients and servers. A client initiates a web service by sending a request to available service that provides a response also as a web service. Let's take a look at web services types and components. XML RPC, or Extensible Markup Language to Remote Procedure Call, is an XML-based standard protocol to exchange data between different devices on a network. XML RPC uses HTTP for quick data transfer and information communication from client to server. UDDI, which stands for Universal Description, Discovery and Integration, is an XML-based standard to discover, expand, and publish web services. Overall, UDDI is the Internet registry for businesses around the world, with an e-commerce goal to streaming digital transactions among worldwide company systems. SOAP stands for Simple Object Access Protocol, is an XML-based standard web service protocol to exchange data and documents over HTTP or SMTP, stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. SOAP allows independent system operating processes to communicate using XML. And REST stands for Representational State Transfer, is responsible for providing communication and connectivity between devices and the Internet for API-based tasks. Majority of abbreviated as RESTful services use HTTP as default supporting protocol. And now, web services request response major templates. JSON RPC, JavaScript object notation to remote procedure call. JSON WSP, JavaScript object notation to web service protocol. Pronounced as WSDL, very important for SOAP testing, stands for Web Service Description Language. Next, WSCL as Web Services Conversation Language. WSFL as Web Services Flow Language. WSME as Web Services Metadata Exchange. And finally, ZINS as XML interface for network services. Let's take a look at WSDL document web service. WSDL document describes and specifies the location of the service with corresponding methods. There are 4 WSDL elements: types, message, port type, binding. Types. XML schema data types used by the web service applied. Message. Data elements for each operation of service. Port type. Operations to be performed with the message involved. Finally, binding. Protocol with data format for each port type. Let's take a look at basic WSDL document format. Here we have definition, target namespace, as you can see, as WSDL. It is SOAP. Once again, WSDL. We have message as request, message as stock price response. Number 15, port type. Number 21 here, binding. Finally, service and closure. Take a glimpse again, and let's proceed to next. Now, let's review simple object access protocol web service. SOAP message XML document building blocks. There are 4 of them: envelope, header, body, and optional fold. Envelope identifies XML document as SOAP message. Header contains header information. Body contains call and response information. Fold contains errors and status information. Let's take a look at SOAP message request and SOAP message response. Request. Type of request is POST. Sent to stockexchange.com. As you can see, it's SOAP envelope part. In envelope, we have body, and let's get quotation for stock prices. Once again, was sent over HTTP, and request method was POST. Let's take a look at response. HTTP response was 200, which is okay, which is good, pass. And here it is, the response body. As you can see here, quotation response. Once again, converted in the envelope within body. Take a look once again. Let's go next. Resource description framework web service. What a resource description framework? Application examples. Describe properties for online shopping like price and availability. Describe information about web pages and web elements or web events. Describe content and rating of search engines and libraries. Pretty vary. Let's take a look at RDF message XML in XML format. As you can see, opening tag is RDF, closing tag is RDF. Also, intertrade.com RDF. And with RDF type of description in RDF format. It's very simple but differs from others. Next, Reality Simple Syndication Web Service. RSS serves to view headlines, website contents, company website, news, product updates, changes, news sites, titles, dates, descriptions with upcoming events. So mostly it's used for media purpose. Let's take a look at this. In this case, first item ending is rrs.asp, but second item is an XML format. As you can see, the description and the description. Also, the document, XML document itself, has opening tag RSS and close tag below RSS. Take a good view, take a good look. Let's proceed to next. XML, Extensible Markup Language. Everybody are familiar with that. Extensible Markup Language, or XML, design human and machine readable format and developed to store and transport data between different platforms safely. XML document is presented in as a tree structure that starts from the root down to branches as nodes. Very simple XML format. As stock exchange companies. Company stock value analysis continue, analysis sell, analysis buy. In this case, it's pretty simple example with repeating stock tags. But indeed, XML file format could have nested XML tags. Proceeding to next. Application Programming Interface. Application Programming Interface, or APIs, refers to any software with a distinct function, where an interface is a point of service contract between two applications, which communicate with each other using different requests and response types. There are four basic types of web APIs: public, open for public use; partner, let's say between two companies or two companies and third party; intermediate; internal APIs for company use only; and most often composite APIs, a mix of all three. Web API is an active application programming interface for the Internet. Browser API is responsible for extending the web browser functionality. Server API is responsible for extending the web server functionality. As you can see, three major types: Web API, Browser API, and Server API. API is the actual bridge establishing the communication between separate organization platforms. The perfect example is everyday payments processing, like in-store or e-commerce shopping, to the bank or to third-party systems like credit cards and others. APIs follow the HTTP or HTTPS secure communication protocol, activating request response standard. Normally, all web browsers have a built-in web APIs to support daily operations in order to help accessing data as a standard. POSTMAN REST API testing. POSTMAN is a global software company offering standalone, user-friendly graphic user interface testing APIs, software platform to design, build, test, modify, document APIs while sending and verifying HTTP requests and responses. POSTMAN offers accessibility, environments, collections, and test creations, along with debugging and continuous integration. Steps using POSTMAN. Basic steps. Open a POSTMAN account, sign in, create a workspace and optionally an environment. Create new design for a project API request with applicable method parameters. Create a POSTMAN collection and add required by project API requests. Execute requests individually or apply the POSTMAN collection runner. Analyze final tests, request response results, and provide a report. Basic POSTMAN API, like not only POSTMAN API at all. Get, post, create new, put, patch, delete, add options, and there are many others. JSON, JavaScript Object Notation. JSON, JavaScript Object Notation, has self-descriptive format for safe storage and data transportation. JSON is language independent to interchange data between computers and written as name-value pairs. JSON data is convertible into JavaScript objects because JSON format uses similar code format. This is JSON format for stock exchange versus XML format for stock exchange basic file. I need to say that JSON format is a preferable choice for API testing, especially for user-friendly user interface like POSTMAN. Both are valid choices. And finally, testing with SOAP user interface or SOAP UI. SOAP UI is an open source web service testing tool application for complete SOAP Simple Object Access Protocol, web, as well as REST, representational state transfer, HTTP-based services testing. SOAP UI functionality covers original web service inspection, development, simulation, mocking, along with functional testing, load and compliance testing. Basic SOAP UI is an open source, completely free tool, while ReadAdapt commercial companion contains extra professional functionality for companies exclusively specializing in critical web services testing. The major difference between POSTMAN and SOAP UI is that SOAP UI is primarily designed for functional and load testing for both SOAP and REST APIs. However, POSTMAN offers a comprehensive API testing and development within a range of functionalities, including API testing, monitoring, collaboration, and automation. That's it for Web Services Overview. See you in the next lectures.